Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody of the world. My name is David. I am the host of StockerFInance.co. You can go check out the blog if you want. But let's just get right into it. So today I'm talking about Snap, aka Snapchat. Snapchat is a messenger app, a photo app, whatever you want to call it. It is a social media platform, and it's taken a lot of criticism. After its IPO, it had a large plummet. Its stock price decreased by a significant amount. In fact, it's down about 41% to date. And at one point earlier this year, around December, it was down 70% from its IPO in 2017 on March 3rd, which was $27.09, and now it is $16.08. Now, that's a massive decrease. So why did that happen? Well, there's three reasons. Number one, Facebook. And a lot of people on Wall Street see Facebook as the dominating player right now. They own Instagram. Their own website is still growing and has a massive following and is incredibly profitable as well. So why is Snapchat better than them? Twitter hasn't been able to beat Facebook, and Snapchat sure as hell probably can't either. But one thing is that Snapchat, in my opinion, and this is why I am actually bullish on Snapchat and think it's going to do very well in the future, is because Snapchat is catering to a certain audience, and that is the younger generation, which Facebook is completely missing out on. That said, Instagram does cater quite a lot to the younger generations, so they're doing a good job on that. And many people say, what can Snapchat do that Instagram can't do? And I'm going to get to that. So first off, before I get into all that stuff, which is mainly my opinion and kind of just hypothetical situations as well as just my own predictions, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. All right, today we are taking our numbers from hypercharts.co/snap. If you want to go ahead and check out Hypercharts, go ahead, check out them, and as well, go ahead and check out Hyperchange, the YouTube channel. He is great and probably some of the best analyses I've ever seen. All right, so first off, the daily active users here. Well, the daily active users had seen a massive increase recently, and you might have noticed I accidentally clicked on a PewDiePie video. And you may have actually noticed the jump in the stock price recently. I'm trying to find it here. There it goes, about 30%, which is pretty big, back in July. Now, it's not seeing the same growth that I think a lot of people would like to see. If you look at the chart, in all of the quarters since 2017, it's looking pretty stale, pretty flat compared to what I think most social media platforms like to see in their daily active users. That said, it hasn't gone down at all, but it hasn't really grown as much as I'd like to see, and there's a reason for that, and that's, I think, because the age range that Snapchat targets is generally between 5th graders. I know that seems young, but a lot of kids are getting iPhones at younger ages these days and downloading apps, up till about the 9th grade age range. These are the people who they're trying to get to download Snapchat now. And that's why if you go onto the Snapchat app and you scroll through the news section, you see a bunch of kind of bogus, dumb news articles. You see a bunch of really just kind of trash content that's super clickbaity, almost like it's meant for younger kids to click on. A lot of it just seems kind of ridiculous and stupid to most adults or most people who are older, and even myself as well. But to these kids and these younger generations, it's stuff that they'll click on, and that way they will watch the ads that come with them. So these are the people, and as kids grow older, more and more kids are going to start downloading Snapchat because the kids who already have it are seniors in high school or older siblings, are probably people from the age range of, I'd say, 19 like myself up to about 30 years old who currently have Snapchat. Maybe a little younger than 30, maybe about in the 20s. And all those people who have Snapchat are going to be passing that same Snapchat, hype and, that way of getting rid of normal texting and using Snapchat text instead. I know I do that all the time. And they're going to be passing it on to their siblings who want to be like them. And so as these kids are growing up and as more kids come into the world, they're going to be downloading Snapchat. But guess what they won't be downloading? Facebook. I don't know a single kid that uses Facebook genuinely, that doesn't use it just for, a work purpose or just has one because they don't want to download apps and get, a free bonus or something, or use it to log in quickly to different websites. That's the only reason kids my age and some kids older than me, probably up to in their 20s, or also people below me, have a Facebook at all. There's really no reason to have one. You have Instagram, which Facebook does own, so I'll give Facebook credit there. They own Instagram. That was a very smart move purchasing that back in the day, since that does cater towards these younger generations. But what Snapchat has is this very kind of, I guess, dumbed down version. If you go on Facebook, it can be very difficult, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of confusing stuff, and for a kid, it can be difficult to use. But Snapchat is so simple. They've made their app so simple. It's just a messenger. It's basically a news feed, and you can see what your friends are doing. And now you have Snap Maps. You can see where they are. You can see Snap scores, so it gives a little competitive edge to it. I mean, it's really the perfect almost game for kids. And that's why Snapchat is so addicting, and that's why so many people use it, in my opinion. However, and back to the daily active users here, so because of all these kids growing up and downloading Snapchat, I think we're going to see the daily active users actually increase as the older generations keep using it, such as, the 19 to 30-year-olds keep using Snapchat. I don't think it's ever going to go away necessarily. And as these kids start using it, and as the older people retire, they're going to stop using Facebook because they don't really care as much anymore. Or perhaps, people start dying off too, and there's going to be less people using Facebook. Facebook has been gaining quite a bit of daily users, and that's mainly because they're opening into other sections of the world, and that is what Snapchat needs to do also. If we look at revenue by geography here, North America is dominating Europe. The European revenue and the rest of the world isn't even close to half of North American revenue. So they have a lot of growth to do globally, and I think they're going to, hopefully they'll improve on that and take advantage of that. So that means they do have a lot of room to grow, but then again, if we go to the daily active users, the North America and European users are about the same. So maybe they aren't marketing right, or maybe they aren't getting enough ads in the European area, or not as advertising as effectively as they should. It's also probably just a newer market. Let's go down here to revenue and operating income. So if we look at revenue and operating income, well, the revenue is... It's doing well. It's growing. It's slow growth, but it's growing. And the gross profit, it could definitely be higher. It needs to be higher in the future. I don't think it'll grow too much, but hopefully we see starting to see as more people, as the active users increase, hopefully we see this gross profit increase, because operating income is really killing them. And that's a problem with so many of these tech startups, such as Uber, Twitter, Spotify, and Snapchat as well, is they're just not profitable. And they're like balloons. Their stock price just blows up because they get overhyped, and then it crashes down because everybody realizes they're not profitable at all. And then they have to recover, and that's what Snapchat is in right now. It's in the recovery phase, at least relating to its stock price. And so if we go to net income here, obviously it's actually on the positive. Right now, it kind of looks like this. I don't know if you can see this. I might have to throw a little graphic up on here instead, and actually I'll probably just do that. But it is going up like this, and then eventually it's going to reach this inflection point. Wow, I really need better markers. But it's going to reach this inflection point, and that's what these companies need to do. They're trying to reach an inflection point where they turn from being not profitable to profitable. Will Snapchat do that? A lot of people don't think so. Do I think so? Eventually, because of all the new, children starting to download Snapchat. All these younger generations, their users are going to grow. Their daily users, their daily active users are going to grow. And as these people get older, as new kids start getting new iPhones and keep growing, and as Snapchat keeps updating, which it's very good at, it's very on top of itself, updating and making it simpler to use, just making a better app overall. Sometimes their updates are a little quirky, but that's okay. As their users keep growing, I think we're going to see an inflection point at some time. They're also getting much bigger advertisers. NBC has a news show on Snapchat as well, which I like to watch sometimes. So Snapchat's been improving significantly, and we'll see if they ever reach this inflection point. That's really what we're paying attention to. But right now, they're on track to, according to their net income. So we'll see what happens there. Now let's go to operating expenses. So interesting enough, half their operating expenses goes towards sales and then sales and marketing, and then their general and administrative operating expenses. So general administrative is just a given. You kind of have to have that unless you pay people less or you fire people, which will just usually hurt how well your company operates. So you really don't want to mess with that too much. And that's just pretty much going to stay the same. It's actually increasing a little bit, probably because they're hiring more people and probably because they, need more data centers, etc. And then sales and marketing. Well, sales and marketing is increasing as well, which is a good sign. That means they might be marketing to more people, and perhaps they are trying to get a little more of the older generations to come down and start using Snapchat, Or maybe they're just still focused on the younger generations, as I said, and just trying to really lock in that they're going to download Snapchat. That's gonna be one of the main apps they download once they get a phone. Because I know when I get a new phone and I open it up, the first thing I do is download Snapchat. Snapchat, Instagram, and then sometimes like some of my banking apps or whatever. But usually Snapchat, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter those are the top three. So, anyways. R&D, though, is about halfway, and that's interesting. So research and development, which is probably why they've had so many updates, and they're so active with how many updates they do, because they're trying to make the perfect app. And they're trying to make the perfect app that is easy enough for you to use for fifth graders and for middle schoolers who just download the app right away, or are downloading the app for the first time, and they want it to make it look sophisticated or be mature enough for the older audiences and for the kids who are going to be growing up, for the kids who are graduating high school, and for the 20-plus-year-olds that have Snapchat. So it's a really fine balance of dumbed down and mature enough for both. And they're really trying to get their algorithm with all the news stories and stuff that pop up to be correct with who's viewing it, and that's something that they have to work on. But I think that's what all the R&D is going to. Otherwise, I'm not really sure there, and it's kind of interesting. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at their cash flow, where their operating cash flow has been decreasing, or it was, not decreasing. It was in the negatives, and now it is increasing towards the inflection point that I was talking about, which is good. They were at about negative $250 million when they first went public, and now they're at about negative 100 or negative 95.79 million. That's very good. And their capital expenditure is also doing good. For some reason, they had a slight increase in these recent past quarters, in the last 2 quarters. Not sure why that is. We actually saw an increase in pretty much, it's because general and administrative expenses have also increased. So pretty much in the last 3 quarters, their expenses have increased. That might not be a good thing, but it might also be a good thing if that means they're spending more on marketing or on research and development. So anyways, this is my kind of weird, I guess, mess of a review of Snapchat and the company as a whole, and whether I think it's a good investment. Do I think it's a good investment currently? I can't say. I'm neutral. Long term in the future, yes, I think it's great. I think it's a bullish investment. I think if you want to put your money somewhere and you don't care at all about how it fluctuates with year to year, or with at least quarter to quarter, then go ahead and invest it. And maybe 20 years from now, you'll have a lot of money because Snapchat will have acquired so many new users. However, in the short term, I think they do have some work to do, and it seems like they're working good, and that's what I like to see. Now, I am not a financial analyst or a licensed investor of any sort, so take my advice with a grain of salt and make sure to go do your own research. Now, I'm going to post, I'll answer any comments below, and I'll also be posting to my blog, StockerFInance.co, at some time in the future about kind of a transcript of this exact video, and I'll also show more detail. Again, hypercharts.co was the website I was using for the numbers and the information here. Go ahead and smash like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.